Hello everyone. I just wanted to pop in real quickly in the middle of this fast forwarded or sped up video and update you on why I look different. It is the next day. Yesterday I was recording and I ran out of Swedish tracing paper for tracing out my pattern pieces. So today I'm gonna cut out the pieces that I do have, and today I am also going to lay out those pieces on top of my fabric and cut out the bodice, because that was all I was able to get, were most of the bodice pieces. So that's where I'm starting off. We will see how it goes. Thanks.
So I am starting off here with cutting out the Swedish tracing paper pattern pieces that I traced out in the previous video. I don't know why, but the video I am watching looks very, very stilted. I hope it does not upload like that. I might have to tweak that a little bit. Pardon me if I make any verbal mistakes. I am very prone to my brain working faster than my mouth, and so whatever comes out of my mouth, see, like that. Whatever comes out of my mouth does not come out correctly because my brain is working faster than my mouth can. You'll get quite a bit of me cutting out pieces. Of course, I am again watching a YouTube video because that's how I roll. I am always watching something. Luckily, I'm not watching it super closely because otherwise I'd probably cut myself. Now I'm pulling out fabric. So exciting! It's my favorite part, once all the pattern pieces are cut out. So now I'm going to take my pattern pieces and I am going to lay them out on my fabric. I had to get my fabric all oriented and flattened. I also had to fold over one section of my pattern so that my piece that needs to be cut on the fold is on a fold, of course, haha. And also so that the pieces that need to cut are being two cut at once. I am lazy. I don't cut one out at a time normally, which I know wastes more fabric, but I also usually don't have a whole lot of time when I am working on these projects. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that one. Sorry guys. So here I am pinning out my pattern pieces. Yes, sometimes I use my water bottle to help me keep my fabric in place. I also use my little magnetic pin holder as a dual fabric weight. It's funny, I feel like my other video I had a lot more going on because I was cutting out pattern pieces with the Swedish tracing paper and I had more to talk about, but I don't actually have a whole lot to talk about in this video. So hopefully it's not too boring. I apologize if it is. But I'm being very careful to pin out my pieces and to try to conserve fabric. I do like to try to save the fabric even though I don't cut my fabric or lay it out in the most efficient way. I am also trying to pay more attention to my grain lines because back in the day I was not good about following grain lines and doing what I was supposed to do with that kind of thing. So I wanted to make sure all of my pieces followed the correct grain line. I know I cut out most of the pieces. Is it bad that right now I can't remember if I actually cut out the sleeve pattern or not? I don't think I did. I also, again, apologize. You might get a couple more boob shots in this video because, of course, I wore another low cut item. And this one's a little more obvious because it's not a t-shirt. Even though I had the sleeve piece, you can see me here folding it and sticking on the shelf. And it's still in the exact same spot right now on June 16th. And I can't remember when I recorded this, but it's been a while. Recorded this. I did say that correctly. I had to think about it. It sounded weird. This is why I don't like listening to myself talk. And here you get a really good shot of how voluminous my hair is. I talked about this in part 1 of the Chemise Gown. Ooh, I said that weird. Chemise Gown saga. We'll call it saga because I don't know if it's a trilogy or more. But I talked about my hair was braided, and this is what it looked like the very next day after I took it down and brushed it out a bit. Yes, I brushed it. I know a lot of people say, don't brush your braided hair or your curls, it makes them frizzy. I wanted the volume, and I don't mind the way it looks. I kind of like it. Yeah, just shove that off to the side because that's how I roll. Now I've got to actually cut them out precisely. I just cut them apart to make it easier to cut them out. For you, this won't take very long, but for me, it felt like forever. So just taking my time cutting these pieces out. I do have my newer scissors. Yes, I'm cutting towards myself. I know it's terrifying, especially for me because I'm very clumsy. But I have my newer scissors that I'm using. Yes, these are only for fabric. Yes, I use them on Swedish tracing paper, but Swedish tracing paper is basically fabric. It's sewable. If you hear any scratching in the background, it's because my cat's at the door and I'm not getting up in the middle of recording this voiceover to open the door. But as I said in part 1 of this saga, she will frequently scratch at the door wanting in. So if you ever see me getting up in a video to open a door, that's what I'm doing. So right now you might actually hear her. I don't know if this voice memo app will pick it up or not. So let's really jump into this. I've finally got one piece done, and now I'm starting on all of the smaller connected pieces. You might not be able to see some of what I'm doing because I'm cutting off the side of the table. That helps me to get better leverage while holding the fabric still. I have a lot of weird methods. Nobody trained me how to cut out fabric or to sew. I'm completely self-taught. I did watch a lot of videos about how to do certain sewing techniques, like rolled hems on machines and stuff. That was back when I was doing anime conventions and doing cosplay. And I don't really do that anymore. And so now I've gotten a little bit more into like grain of fabric and into historical hand sewing. I don't know a whole lot of that technique wise yet, but I do hand sew pretty frequently now. I do enjoy hand sewing now. I didn't used to really enjoy it. I couldn't wait to buy a sewing machine because I hated hand sewing because it took forever. But now that I'm older, I can definitely appreciate it for what it is. And I can appreciate the historical aspect of it and how people, that's how they would sew. That's the only way they could sew and make garments. And some people who were not super wealthy, that's how they made all of their garments themselves. So I appreciate it a whole lot more than I used to. I look very concentrated and my hair looks so red in this image, like, not like fire engine red, but it like redhead red to me anyways. People frequently tell me I'm blonde, and when I look at myself I don't see a blonde, but I guess I am blonde. I always thought I was like light brunette, honey brunette, you know, maybe golden brown, I don't know, something like that. Anyways, getting distracted. Finishing up those last few pieces. I'm pretty sure that in the next clip that's about to start, I do actually start pinning together my pieces. Can't remember if I actually do any sewing on it yet, but Here I'm just trying to figure out exactly how my pieces lay out and attach to each other, you know, to make sure I understand what I'm doing before I take the template off, the pattern piece off the top. And I forget for a moment that I need to mark some notches and such on my fabric, and then I do something really stupid, and for some reason I grabbed the ink pen, which is usually what I use, and then I grabbed a permanent marker. I don't know why. Luckily, so far, it hasn't been an issue on what I've been working on. I hope it remains that way, that I don't see it on anything. I'm afraid of when I wash this garment for the first time. I'm afraid that like black marker is going to bleed into my stuff. Luckily, this dress is white, so I could bleach it. Hopefully that would help. I might have to do that because I'm not smart sometimes. Here I am being smart and going and grabbing, ta-da, a pencil. Sometimes I make smart decisions. They're usually after I make a bad decision, though. I'm sure that's how it is for everyone. Concentrated as usual. I've never really looked at myself as I'm sewing or going through the process before sewing, and I look so serious. I look like I did when I used to take ballet class. I was just a completely different person. If you ever meet me in person, or if you already know me, you know I'm a pretty carefree, fun-loving, always laughing kind of person. And you might get that when I'm doing intros and exits on my videos, but watching myself sew or watching myself pattern is so serious. So I can't, I'm just like grim and serious and determined and not my usual self. But this is also when I'm the most relaxed. Like, yeah, it's just how I work. I'm such a goofball. So here I go. I'm gonna start pinning together my pattern pieces. Right now I'm threading a needle. I don't know why I'm leaving this in the video, but you know, I'm sorry, it's there. I'm done now, so I was able to talk you through it without you even really noticing, right? That's a big question mark, I promise. I'm asking you that question. Did I talk you through that so you didn't even notice? Or are you sitting there going, Megan, really? Why are we watching you thread this needle? I do know at some point, I think in my next video, I started gathering before I actually hit record, and then I realized I wasn't recording, and you guys will miss some of my gathering process. This is okay, right? Because some of this can be pretty tedious. You don't need to see every single moment, right? Yeah, so concentrated. I bet if I zoom this video in, I'd have like 3 double chins. That's okay. I'm looking very down. I'm not holding it up. This is actually a common problem for people who hand sew. People who work on machines don't have this problem as frequently, but I've heard a lot of my friends who have done hand sewing for a living, like at Jamestown and places like that, talk about how damaging it is for the body, what toll it takes on the body, because you're sitting in this position with your head basically looking in your lap. So you end up with neck problems. And of course, then there's also issues like carpal tunnel and other things like that from just constantly using your hands in repetitive motion. So people who hand sew for a living, I respect you greatly. You guys are amazing to me. I am impressed by you. So this is where I get smart and I get wise and I decide that I'm gonna move my camera while it's still going. I apologize. I should have just stopped it and then moved it. But I thought about the fact that you guys basically couldn't see what I was doing because it's so far away. And now I apologize because it's not super far away, but it's a major boob shot again. Yeah, I used to be really petite, really tiny. So, you know, I'm still adapting to my current figure, and I sometimes forget about things like boobs because I didn't used to have them. I used to only have a butt. So that was me on a tangent. I apologize. I don't even know if all of this is going to go into the video because I'm talking longer than the amount of time that I have available for me. I know I have some quiet moments in here though, so I'll cut those out and see if it fits.
Alright guys, and that was my video, and if you have any questions, please leave comments. I will definitely be the type of person to answer your questions. When people comment on my photos, I usually at least like every comment that I get on my personal page. So I will probably try to reply to as many comments as possible. I highly doubt I'm ever going to make it big doing these videos. I'm mostly just doing them for fun and kind of like a visual blog because I've noticed I forget some of the little minor details of my life, and I feel like this would make it more interesting and fun and help me remember some of those everyday happinesses. But yeah, that was my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below. I'm not going to beg for subscriptions. I'm not going to say please smash or subscribe or wham, whap, all those different things that people say, the subscribe button. If you subscribe, you subscribe. If you don't, you don't. But I would appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.